Hi, friends. My name is Bhavya Mangla. I'm again back with the fourth episode. And in this episode, which you know is a series which is going on with respect to the Toastmasters, that what is happening in the life of Toastmasters, how Toastmasters is helping them in their personal life, in their professional life. Is it making any change in their life or not? The main objective of this podcast talk to the ordinary people, the common man, and to understand that what different they are doing in their life and what kind of difference they are creating in their life. In today's episode, I have a very interesting person, a person who is electronics and communication engineer, a person who started his own entrepreneurship, and then he joined Toastmaster. And after joining Toastmaster, something triggered in his life, and there are many new things which have unfolded in his life. So once Ankur Oberai, who is my today's guest, will be on screen, then you will be able to understand that how Toastmaster is helping him and what kind of changes it's coming into his life. So let me welcome on stage Ankur Oberai. Hi Ankur, how are you doing?
Hi Bhavya, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. So Ankur, very recently I came to know that you have published your first book. So I would like to know
Yes.
from you about it that a person who is an electronics and communication engineer, a person who is doing his own business, that what happened and what triggered that you decided to write your first book.
So firstly, all of this started with Toastmasters. 2 years
Okay.
ago, when I joined Toastmasters, I met great personalities like you, and there were so many other people who had this urge of communicating their ideas and their feelings so wonderfully to the public.
Mm-hmm.
And I came to know that you are an author yourself, and that gave me some motivation that you know writing a book requires a lot of discipline,
Mm-hmm.
but then it is a fulfilling feeling. It gives a feeling of contentment. Whenever I saw you talking about your book, I saw that passion,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started thinking that okay, I must write a book, but then what should be the topic? I had no clue.
Mm-hmm.
uh, but one day I saw my daughter, when she was 1 years old, and she was trying to grab something from the shelf. Now her
Mm-hmm.
height was not that much that she could climb that shelf and grab her toy. So what she
Okay.
did, she put a pair of heels
Mm-hmm.
of her mother, and then she grabbed that toy. And I got this
Okay.
idea that children are so creative.
Mm-hmm.
I often see my niece and my daughter, they're playing so creative games that we cannot think of.
Mm-hmm.
So I got this
Mm-hmm.
idea that maybe creativity is innate in all of us. It might be a fundamental human trait.
Mm-hmm.
So I started researching a lot on this topic, how our brain functions during creativity and what happens when we grow up. And I realized that there are many obstacles to
Mm-hmm.
creativity. And that's how I got this idea of writing a book.
Wonderful. So, in this particular book, you're talking about nine different obstacles to creativity and how we can overcome. Any favorite obstacle which you want to share? Maybe which was with you, you had personally faced, may not be with others, but your personal experience.
So my favorite, see, everyone has their favorite. I'm sure you will also have your favorite because everyone has a different journey. Everyone will have a different obstacle. So
Yeah.
whatever obstacle is anyone's weakness, that becomes their favorite. Okay, this is the obstacle that I need to overcome,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
it is that chapter which that person will keep on revisiting. So my
Yeah.
favorite has been self doubt,
Okay.
because I used to be full of self doubt. If I can write a book, if I can do something,
Mm-hmm,
then gradually when I overcame that self doubt, everything changed.
mm-hmm,
So I'm sure when you will read this book, you will also find your favorite obstacles.
mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. When we talk about Toastmasters, also one of the biggest reason why anyone joins a Toastmaster is the self doubt. The self doubt
Hmm.
that whether I can speak in front of people or not,
Right.
whether I can impress the people with my speaking skills or not. So,
Hmm.
2 years back, as you said that you joined Toastmasters, at that time, did you had any doubt with respect to your speaking skills, or you are good as we see you today?
I was nowhere close to this, and I'm sure this must have happened, or you must have seen that happening. That when the first speech comes, that's the icebreaker speech.
Yeah.
Everyone has that jittery feeling. Okay, what I'm going to do? Everyone is revising their notes and
Yeah.
full of self doubt. I am sure you must have observed this.
True. Yeah.
And so was I. So was I. I had a lot of self doubts. I didn't know whether the audience will be able to understand my point, or whether I'll be able to convey my feelings to the audience, how I'm feeling right now, giving that icebreaker speech, the first speech that we give as Toastmasters.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember. It was 2 years ago, and I almost had blackouts.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
standing on the stage and I don't remember what exactly I spoke, because that feeling that, being scared of public speaking. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people say that fear of public speaking is even more than fear of death. I've heard
Yeah.
heard this a lot of times. I think
Yeah.
they're true. But once you overcome that feeling, once you overcome that fear,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
that's a feeling of bliss.
But I was going through your LinkedIn profile, and I was seeing some interesting word there. We are talking about soft skill trainer. Now you are saying 2 years back you were feeling like you can't speak, and you were feeling blank. So how it is possible that in 2 years now you have become a soft skill trainer? What changed in these 2 years?
I did a lot of practice. So
Mm-hmm.
Toastmasters gave me a platform where wherein I could practice my impromptu speaking skills, my prepared speeches, and even evaluation. So when we evaluate, we listen, and that's a very important skill to have today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So after taking multiple roles in a Toastmaster meeting, see,
Okay.
I think we have anywhere close to 10 to 14 roles in Toastmaster, depending upon the kind of club we are in. So I
Yeah.
made sure that every time I came, I should have a role. And if
Mm-hmm.
not, if I don't have a role, I should at least speak impromptu in those
Mm-hmm.
meetings. So that gave me a lot of practice. And here's a fact about being talented and not being talented. Not being talented in public speaking was actually an edge to me.
Okay.
So stay with me here.
Mm-hmm.
If you are talented at something, you rely on your talent. But if you're not talented at something, you work hard for it. And it is
True.
that journey, it is that process which makes
Mm-hmm.
you better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I could not rely on my talent. I had to rely on hard work, on consistency, on discipline, on courage, because it takes a lot of courage to go to different clubs, to different audience, and then speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
is the process which was the catalysis factor. It just catalyzed the whole self improvement journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But as you're talking about all those things, one thing which is coming in my mind is that you are doing Toastmasters regularly. You are also a co-founder of a company which you are working there. You are also married. So how do you find time for Toastmasters and to prepare? As you said that you worked so hard. So from where you got all the time? Because generally people say that they don't have even time to die.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Bhavya, firstly,
Hmm.
I'm blessed with a super supportive family.
Okay.
My wife is really supportive of my self growth journey and all the. I stay in a joint family, and everyone is
Hmm.
really supportive of this journey of mine. So first thing
Okay.
first, I'm blessed to have a fortunate enough to have a supportive family. So that's the first thing.
Hmm.
Secondly, to gain something, you have to sacrifice something. There is something that you have to leave.
Hmm.
So there are things that I had to quit in order to pursue this field of public speaking and training. The first
Hmm.
thing I quit was being too much on social media. It's not that I'm not on social media today. I do use Instagram. LinkedIn is a must these days, but I have
Hmm.
limit my time on that. I don't spend
Okay.
more than 10 to 15 minutes on Instagram.
Hmm.
Then things like, mindlessly scrolling YouTube, watching so much of Netflix movies. These are
Hmm.
certain things that one has to quit. One has to sacrifice on something. So these are the
Mm-hmm.
things that I sacrificed in order to gain something better.
Okay, you may not be Gen Z, but you are very close to that. So, how much it was easy or difficult for you to, I won't say quit social media, but to curtail yourself because people find it very difficult to manage their social media. So, how you manage means what trick you did?
It
Can you
it
share any
all
hack
starts
about
from
that?
it
Yeah.
all starts from why. It all starts from within. There are ironically there are videos on YouTube that motivate you to quit social media. Those
Wonderful.
videos themselves are half an hour long. So
Mm-hmm.
half an hour you are stuck there trying to motivate yourself that okay, I'm going to leave social media. But then that does not happen. It has to come from within. You have to have a strong why. I had a strong why that I got to improve. I got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you have a strong why, when you have a strong reason, it just happens. I think um, this self control, this willpower is a limited resource.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you invest too much into willpower, that okay, I'm going to lock my phone, I'm going to put my phone in the locker, it will not work because one day you will deplete your willpower.
Yeah.
So you have to have a strong why.
But I think that brings a very interesting point here that in general, people are not very clear what is their why. And maybe one of the reason is that there are so many things which is happening around us that we don't even find time to think about our why. So how you identified your why, that what is most important for you, and because once we are clear about that, then things become very easy. So how you identified
Mhm.
your why, maybe that can help me and maybe the people who are listening.
Just three words: hit and trial.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That's it. Hit and trial is the answer. Bhavya, like you may be among those lucky ones who found their calling very soon or without any, without a lot of hit and trials.
mm-hmm,
But one has to explore a lot. I explored lot of avenues at what exactly I want to do, and I would say I'm fortunate enough to find two callings. People rarely find one. I found two callings. One is my audio journey, wherein we design and manufacture home audio speaker systems,
mm-hmm.
and the other one is public speaking and trainings. So yes, I make speaker and I am a speaker. I'm
Okay.
fortunate enough to have two callings, but these callings were found only after hit and trial. So don't be, so one should not be scared of these hit and trials.
Mhm, 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 mhm. So one interesting thing which you just said before is that you have a very supportive joint family and you are happily married. These days, we generally find it, very rarely such kind of combination where you are also living in a joint family and you are also happily married. So, what is the secret for that? If you can share
I
a little
I
bit
don't
about
know.
that.
You'll have to ask my parents about it.
Mhm, 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 mhm,
They can tell in detail what was
mhm,
that or
mhm.
what is their secret ingredient. It's probably they were never and they are never partial between my brother and I. So that is why they have maintained a balance.
Mhm.
In If you want to know in detail, it's only my parents that are fit to speak on this topic.
But what is your contribution in that? Because everyone is contributing in their own way. So our control is that what we can do and what we
What
can
we can do.
contribute. So what
Exactly.
was your contribution in
So,
that to make it?
being together in your winnings and losses, as we say, being together in your sickness and health. I think
Mm,
that's the biggest contributor, and I contribute a lot with my knowledge.
mhm,
If anyone has any questions in their mind about anything, they don't go to Google first. They first come to me. But okay, Ankur, you
wonderful.
read a lot, you do a lot of research. So
Mhm,
this is what is the matter. Why don't you study on it and then uh, tell us more about it? So everyone has their own strengths in the family, and
mhm.
the way to go about it is that build on each other's strength. So as they say, the secret of lot of people is they don't overcome their weakness. It's a good thing.
Okay.
Strengthen your strengths
Mhm.
and manage your weakness.
Okay.
whether
Okay.
it's a whether it's your family, or whether it's your profession, or whether it's your hobby, or whatever aspect you have in your life. If
Mm-hmm.
you try
Mm-hmm.
to overcome your weakness, you will spend considerable amount of energy, and
Mm-hmm.
probably you will never be as great as those people who you look up to. So just manage your weakness and strengthen your strengths. I'll give you an
Can you give
example.
me example? Yeah, please. Yeah.
So if there's a kid who is, I would say, 12 years old, 13 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and that kid is not very good at mathematics. He's just
Okay.
flunking in mathematics all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he's great at tennis. He's a wonderful tennis player. That's his
Mm-hmm.
passion. So
Mm-hmm.
his strength is tennis, but his weakness is maths.
Yeah.
So what do parents do? What do most parents do? They hire a maths tutor
Yeah.
and they say, okay, you have to bring 80% in maths, you have to get 90% in maths, forget tennis for a while.
Yeah.
But what do intelligent parents do? They
Mm-hmm.
hire him a tennis coach, that this is your strength, this is your calling, be excellent in this, pursue excellence in this. And maths, somehow pass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Manage your weakness.
Yeah. 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 Wonderful. You also used a very interesting word just now, winning and losing. You were always together. But I think what is happening in present time, especially, I mean, it was earlier also, but I think now it is increasing more and more that if something is happening good, then we are always with that person. But if something is not happening good as per our choice, then we say, no, 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 I don't like it, or I'm separating, or something like that. So how much easy it is to be always be there in winning as well as in losing, especially from your perspective.
It comes from acceptance. So,
Mm-hmm.
everyone in my family is mature enough to understand that everyone is a person as a whole. Negative and positive, they come together and make a person wholesome person. You
Mm-hmm.
can't you can't accept someone as a standalone package, that
Yeah.
okay, I'll accept only the positive part and I will reject the negative part. So
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
acceptance is very important.
Mm-hmm. 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 And how to get that acceptance? It seems to be a easy word, but is it that easy actually?
So so it all comes from within. When you go inside you and when you start accepting yourself, only
Mm-hmm.
then you will be able to accept others.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do? We often neglect our pain points, and we put the blame on others.
Mm-hmm.
And when
Mm-hmm.
something good happens, okay, I have done this is my strength, I am good at this. But if something bad happens, if you fail, you just blame it on others. You
Mm-hmm.
don't
Mm-hmm.
accept yourself. So ever since I was a child, this incident happened. I would like to share with you
Yeah.
that I got really less marks in one of the subject in school. I think
Okay.
it was English. So I went back home with my poor marks, and I told my mom that, mom, this is my score. And she said, Ankur, it's so poor.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you work on this? I said, mom, everyone has got a low score. Even the toppers have got low score. And I still remember she said, instead of blaming that the paper was difficult, or the teacher marked you really strict, that the toppers have also got less marks,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you
Mm-hmm.
work on yourself? Because blaming is easy,
Yeah.
but working on yourself takes a lot of courage. So when you start working on yourself, when you start accepting
Yeah.
your weakness and your failures, only then you will be able to accept others.
In fact, if we see it from the context of Toastmasters, don't you think this is exactly is the reason that why people continue to be in Toastmasters for a long time? Because when they join Toastmaster, they find that they can come, they can fail, and still people are going to clap for them, and they will again get another opportunity to come and fail again. Again, people are going to motivate them. Again, they will come on stage. This time slightly better, but still fail, and again coming back. Any experience which you'd like to share in this 2 years journey of Toastmasters with respect to that?
Absolutely, absolutely, Bhavya. I second with you on this,
Yeah.
because I still remember on the first day when it was my speech, I was
Mm-hmm.
worried that people will judge me, and everyone is worried. If I talk to people that, if you want to improve your communication skills, if you want to improve your public speaking skills, join Toastmasters. The
Hmm.
first thought is that I will be judged. But I'm
Yeah.
surprised to see this thing in our community that no
Hmm.
one judges you. I have
Hmm.
seen speakers literally crying on the stage. They are
Yeah.
sharing their story, and the story becomes really emotional, and they've started crying on the stage. Yet, no one would laugh on them. No one would, judge them, and they will just, accept it and still clap after the speech is over.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So, I think this is the essence of Toastmasters: acceptance.
Yeah. In fact, if I talk about my experience with respect to Toastmaster, I think majority of the guests who are coming to Toastmaster meeting, one common thing everyone is talking is about judging. That
Hmm.
they don't feel that somebody is judging here, and they always feel that they are being welcomed in the meeting. I think these are the two most common word which I have always heard about it, because I think in society in general everyone is judging us, but when they come to a Toastmaster meeting for these 2 hours, they feel liberated. They feel like they can do anything and everything, and still nobody is going to ask them that why you did like that way.
Absolutely. And Bhavya, I would like to extend your statement that people don't
Yeah,
judge you, people accept you, and then in the process, you start discovering yourself. We have a very famous process in Toastmasters of evaluating people:
yeah,
CRC approach.
yeah.
Commendation, recommendation, commendation. So first we compliment someone that, okay, this was the good part of about your speech, and then we give recommendation that these are the areas where you can improve, and then we give another commendation to make a complete package. So what happens is, in this process, the person accepts the recommendation. In management they call it a sandwich approach.
Yeah.
You sandwich the recommendations. So
Mhm.
this also makes you accept yourself and to know yourself. Who exactly are you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses?
Mhm. Mhm.
And when
Mhm.
you write speeches, when you're preparing for your prepared speeches, so depending upon what are someone's goals, someone might spend a week writing their speech. Someone, they write it in a day or few hours. But then when you write a speech, what are you doing? You are
Mhm.
expressing your thoughts, you're expressing your feelings. And
Mhm. Mhm.
writing is known as thinking on paper. So when you think on paper, when you start writing, you get to know yourself. So Toastmasters has also been a journey of self-discovery for me.
You just talked about CRC approach, but in general, some people also have a feeling that we should be blunt. We should say if something is wrong, we should say that way. Only then a person can improve. Uh, do you also think in the same way when you are not in Toastmasters, or only in Toastmasters you like to use this approach, but when you're in your business or maybe in your personal and social life, there you have a different approach to it?
I do try to, give feedbacks and recommendation using the CRC approach. And what you
Mhm.
mentioned, that a lot of people say that, one should be totally blunt about it. Just be blunt and tell what should be improved. See, such people are only probably 0.1% or point or 1% in this world who can accept blunt responses.
Mhm. Mhm.
But then, most of us are carrying the load of our egos, of our false sense of self, that I cannot accept a negative feedback. So I think at
Mhm.
that point CRC becomes a valuable tool.
Anybody who is thinking about improving their communication skill and leadership skill and thinking about joining a Toastmaster, any one thing which you'd like to tell them that why Toastmaster can be a suitable tool for them?
So when we talk about communication, the first thing that comes is listening. So when you enter a Toastmaster meeting, you listen to different speeches, you listen to evaluators, and in the end, there's a process called general evaluation, wherein the whole meeting is evaluated.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this process itself makes you a good listener. And
Mhm. Mhm.
communication, we know, is a two-way process. It cannot be,
Yes.
I'm talking and I'm not listening at all.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I'm talking to an audience, even if there are 50 people in front of me, I still have to listen because there are non-verbal feedbacks going on. People
Mm-hmm.
might be, nodding their heads, or if I'm not good, people might be yawning or sitting with their
Yeah.
arms crossed. So all these are non-verbal communication gestures, and that's how I listen to the audience. That's how anyone has to, listen to their audience. So
Mm-hmm.
first thing that
Mm-hmm.
happens is you become a good listener, and it takes practice because our attention spans have gotten so less these days.
Mm-hmm.
So goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds, and humans have got attention span of 8 seconds now, less than that of a goldfish. So
Mm-hmm.
listening today is a superpower. The first thing that
Mm-hmm.
happens when you go to Toastmasters is you become a good listener, and that
Mm-hmm.
helps. What about you, Bhavya? What do you think is one factor in Toastmasters that helps in communication?
I think one of the very important factor in Toastmaster is that once you come to a meeting, you feel so welcome. You feel so comfortable. You feel so relaxed. You feel that you are a part of that community, even if you are going for the first time, which generally is not there when you are outside a Toastmaster meeting. Because generally, also always have to prove that you are good. But when you're in
Hmm.
Toastmaster, you can just be yourself, whatever you are. And then there are very few opportunities that we get where we can be ourselves. Sometimes we are in the family where we can be
Hmm.
ourselves, but once we go out of the family, then we have to pretend to be someone. But then in a Toastmaster meeting, you can be yourself, and when you are yourself, you can deliver your best. Your creativity, goes to the next level. And I think that is one of the reasons that you could think about writing this particular book with respect to
Absolutely.
that.
I totally agree. That's how creativity flourishes. When you are in a state of mind wherein you can relax and just
Any
express yourself.
challenge? Any challenge with respect to writing this book?
Oh, a lot of challenges. I lost consistency so many times. So when I
Mm-hmm.
started writing, I just sat for 3 hours and I started typing, started editing on the go, and then I
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then I was burnt out. For the next few days, I did not write anything. Then I realized that okay, that's not the way. Let's, as you say, I've heard this phrase from you, Bhavya. Uh, Eat the elephant piece by piece.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So I started dedicating half an hour every day, but then that also I lost it for a few weeks. I could not give even half an hour, but then I was back again. So it's not about how many times you quit, it's about how many times you get back. This was the
Mm-hmm.
biggest challenge, getting back to writing. And then because I had a strong why, I have this urge to share these findings with the audience. The why was
Mm-hmm.
strong enough, so I kept on getting back to it.
And in case somebody wants to get this book, how they can get that?
It's
You
available
gifted
on
to me.
Amazon.
You gifted to me, but no, not everyone will get this opportunity. So how they can?
Yes, it's available on Amazon, and you have the Kindle version also.
Okay. What about the audio version? Is it also there at the moment?
Audio version is not out yet.
Okay. Uh-huh. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, any key learning before we close with respect to writing this book, which you want to share, which you learned yourself while
Yeah.
writing this book?
So the biggest thing I learned was, firstly, anyone can be creative. We
Mm-hmm.
associate creativity to those creative fields that we say, okay,
Yeah.
painters, movie writers, or anyone who is into fine arts. Okay, that is creativity. No,
Mm-hmm.
creativity is a daily phenomena. Once I started writing the book, I started seeing everything with that lens of creativity.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
When you are cooking something and then you decide, okay, instead of this masala, I'll add this masala now, and then see what happens, and then you see, okay, now it's a different flavor. Now it's an altogether
Mm-hmm.
different dish that I had never tasted before.
Mm-hmm.
That's creativity. So there are small, and I have mentioned this in the book as well, that
Mm-hmm.
every day you are being creative. And uh, it's a great feeling of contentment once you start living creatively, once you start doing small things with
Mm-hmm.
creative acts. So if anyone is in a boring, monotonous desk job that they are abhorring, okay, I do not like this. There's no creativity in my job. Why do I need creativity?
Mhm.
That's the reason to read this book, that you can be creative. In fact, you are creative. There are just obstacles that you need to overcome.
Wonderful, wonderful, Ankur. Thank you very much, Ankur, for sparing your valuable time and sharing certain insights with respect to the book, about
And thank
your
you, Bhavya,
journey
for
writing the book with respect to the
thank you, Bhavya.
Toastmaster journey. Thank you. So
Thank
thank
you,
you very
Bhavya, for
much
having
for being a part of this session, and looking forward for another interesting session in this series of Toastmasters. Thank you very much. Bye
me.
bye.
Absolutely. Bye. Bye, Bhavya.